both feet. Oh. How's it going?
Good.
Been busy.
How did you decide to become a professional bodybuilder?
After I graduated from the academy and they cut you loose on the streets, one of the guys saw me on one of the calls, like, man, you a pretty big guy. Where you work out at? I told him, man, I work out at the station where it's free. So you ought to come over to Metroflex, the gym I work at. I'm like, okay. So I go with Metroflex and Brian is there.
Well, my name is Brian Dobson. I'm the owner and operator of Metroflex Gym. We're here in Arlington, Texas.
Brian is the guy that got me into bodybuilding. A friend of mine brought me to this gym. Brian was insistent upon me bodybuilding, told me that I could do good in the sport. Finally told me that he'd give me a free membership, and I said, oh, what the heck.
Brian Dobson. I'm the owner of Metroflex Gym. Been here since 1987. I mean, we get new equipment here and there, but pretty much stays the same, man. I mean, we believe in the old school ways. Our training methods here are hard. I mean, we get criticized a lot for that.
He trained in a dungeon type gym. In my terms, it would be labeled as a shithole. Rusty weights and very dusty and whatever. But that's where he trained because he loved to train.
Yeah, so that plays the trip. I mean, I was from California. We got the ocean breeze coming in through Golden Venice, and I wasn't accustomed to all the heat, 100-some degrees in the gym. I don't know how they do it, but they do it. It's hot as hell in there.
As soon as he walked in, I knew who it was. He had the red sweatshirt on, and you could see the veins, bulging through this thing, And of course, I was used to being around champion bodybuilders, but I don't think I'd ever seen that yet.
Brian took me on his wing and taught me all the poses and stuff, and then he would go over, diet and stuff, and tell me what I need to eat.
The thing that separated him, of course, is just his work ethic from the very start has been supreme. He was never one of them guys you had to push.
My first show, I went in, won first and overall, and I'm like, whoa, I can probably be pretty good at this. When I was in high school, the gym I worked out was like Metroflex. When I was in college, the gym I worked out at was like Metroflex. So I got accustomed to working out at a gym that had no AC, dirt on the floor, there was no carpet. And I kind of fell in love with that type of gym. You get used to a certain thing, you just don't want to change, because that's kind of like what's worked for you your whole life. And you fall in love with it, and that's what you want to do. And that's what Metroflex is. And that's what it's been for me all my life. It's what I'm accustomed to doing, and it's what made me successful. So, like they say, if it ain't broke, then you ain't got nothing to fix there.
I knew he could be Mr. Olympia one day. There's no man who trains harder anywhere. I truly believe that if Ronnie put his mind to it, he could set the all-time record in powerlifting, and not only be the greatest bodybuilder of all time, but the greatest powerlifter of all time also. I think Ronnie could be Mr. Olympia until he's 45, 50 years old if he wanted to be.
This is 2000. I'm still here. I've been here for almost 11, 12 years. Been the happiest times of my life, and I kind of hope Brian's been kind of happy with me being here.
Yeah.
Me, Brian, kind of like, an angel to me because, I've been working out now for about 25 years. And when I first walked in that door, Brian had told me I could be a world champ. And he stuck by his belief and his feeling toward me. It's kind of like we got a bond here. So I think we kind of like a family. I didn't do this thing all by myself. I had some help. And right here is my angel, Brian Dobson.
Thank you, brother.
I don't know if you can say mind fuck, but it's a mind fuck to the max. Like you can't imagine coming from being an upper echelon of your sport to not being that anymore, and then just have to deal with that part to be on the other side of that. It's pretty hard,
I won't lie, I cried the first time. I never told him that or anything, but seeing him because to me his strength was supernatural. I mean, it was so above and beyond everybody else's. It was very, very hard to see that, and especially when the hips went, and he had to use a walker and all that. That was tough for me, and he got down to 215 pounds probably at one point, maybe 220. And I'd never seen him this small ever,
It's hard for me because, remember, I stood next to him and battled him, and I admired the way he trained. And sometimes I wish I could do that. And now I look at it and say, wow, what did it? I don't know the answer because Ronnie's not going to cry about anything. That's the thing about Ronnie Coleman. He's not going to make excuses for himself. Well, this is why it happened. He'd rather just say, when people say, hey, you're laid up, you had this many surgeries, what do you think? He goes, well, I'm really disappointed I only squatted 800 twice. That's just Ronnie. Everything negative is a positive to him. And that's why he's great.
I think I could have got 5 with 800. I could have got 5 reps. I think I could have got 5 easy reps. But I did the 800 squat, and then I went to the leg press, and I put 2,300 on there, and I got 8 reps. So I kind of made up for it there.
I can't feel sad for Ronnie Coleman because I knew that there would be a price to pay for what he was doing, and I think for him, that price was worth it. Ronnie Coleman was one of the few bodybuilders that paid his house off, bought his mom a house, took care of his entire family, created his own supplement line, and had multiple opportunities worldwide to see the globe as a result of what he did. So if this is the price you have to pay, I think if you ask Ronnie, he'd say he'd do it again. If you ask me, I would say it's foolish. I would never do that. I don't want any of those standout trophies to have the body that 53, 54-year-old Ronnie Coleman has. It wouldn't be worth it for my lifestyle.
And that's why you got to respect the guy, because he could be crying to everyone, well, I'm so beat up, and bodybuilding did this to me. But Ronnie's enjoying his time with his kids. He's doing his travel still. He's making the best of it. He's wheeling in expos in a wheelchair. I feel sorry that it happened, but I don't think Ronnie feels sorry about it, because you know what? He just did what he had to do to be the greatest bodybuilder of all time. And he will go down in history as the greatest bodybuilder of all time.
Years, and I've been working here for 12. And the famous question is, why do you still work here and you're Mr. Olympia, 2-time Mr. Olympia? My answer to that question is, because I love it.